Hola, ¿alguna vez has sentido esa pequeña frustración? Esa vocecita que te dice que tu inglés no suena tan profesional o tan claro como quisieras. Quizás has estado en una reunión importante, tienes una idea brillante, pero notas esa mirada de confusión en los demás. It's incredibly common, even when your grammar and vocabulary are excellent. Often it comes down to just a few key sounds that make a huge difference in how clearly you're understood. In this video, I'm going to break down the top 5 English pronunciation challenges that specifically hold back Spanish speakers, why they happen, and most importantly, start you on the path to fixing them so you can speak with complete confidence. Stick around because mastering these could be the key to unlocking that next level in your English communication. But first, I want to answer a quick question. Why focus on these 5? Because they are incredibly common, often cause misunderstandings even when your grammar is perfect, and fixing them gives you the biggest bang for your buck in sounding clearer and more professional. All right, kicking things off at number 5, we have the infamous TH sound. That's the voiceless TH sound, like in think or thank, and the voiced TH sound, like in they or this. Now, the main reason these are tricky is simple. These specific sounds just don't exist in most Spanish dialects. So what happens? It's incredibly common to substitute them with sounds you do have. Most often, the voiceless TH gets replaced with a T sound. So thank becomes tank, tree becomes tree. And the voiced TH gets replaced with a D sound. They becomes day, although becomes although. The impact? Well, honestly, native speakers can often figure out what you mean from context. But it's a very noticeable marker of a non-native accent, and it can occasionally cause real confusion, especially with words like three and tree, or breathe, respirar, and breed, procrear. It definitely affects how fluent and clear you sound overall. Now, maybe you've heard the advice, just put your tongue between your teeth. And yes, that is part of it for many people. But the real difference lies in how the air moves. The T and D sounds stop the air completely for a moment, creating a little pop. Tuh, duh. English TH sounds, however, require the air to flow continuously over the tongue without stopping. It's this continuous flow versus the stop and pop that's the key difference, the one thing that really matters. So why is this number 5 and not number 1? It is important, don't get me wrong, but because context helps so much, and because even some native English accents pronounce TH like D, it tends to cause slightly fewer direct misunderstandings compared to the next sounds we're going to cover. And as we talk about these sounds, you might be wondering if you're making this mistake or how clearly you're pronouncing the other sounds in this video. It can be really hard to hear your own errors, especially the ones you've been making for years. That's exactly why I created a free English pronunciation evaluation. It's quick, takes just a few minutes, and uses our specialized AI technology to give you instant feedback on some of the most critical sounds for Spanish speakers, including the TH sounds we just discussed. You'll get a full report showing your level and exactly which sounds you need to focus on, prioritized by their impact on clarity. It's completely free. Just click the link in the description below to take the free evaluation right now. Find out which sounds you would most benefit from improving. Okay, moving on to sound number 4, and this one causes a lot of direct misunderstandings. We're talking about the English Y sound, y, like in yes or yellow, versus the English J sound, j, like in job or jello. The core issue here is that neither of these sounds typically exists in Spanish. Often, Spanish speakers replace both the English y and j sounds with the sound used for y or doble L, like in yo or llave. So what happens? You end up pronouncing both Y and J like that sound from Spanish. Then we can't tell if you're saying use or juice, or Yale as in the university, or jail as in prison. It's a pretty important difference. My son went to Yale versus my son went to jail. But it's more than just those cases of direct confusion. When you replace these English sounds with that sound from Spanish, it makes your speech much harder for native speakers to follow smoothly. It's the type of thing that is likely to cause us to do that annoying thing where we lean in and squint when we're having trouble understanding you. Okay, so what is the difference between English Y and J? There are several important differences, but I'll share one I think is the most important. The English Y sound, y, is a smooth, gliding sound, very similar to the vowel sound in the Spanish word hielo. The air flows smoothly. Y, yellow, y, you. The English J sound, j, is very different. It starts by blocking the air, similar to a D sound, before releasing with some friction. J, jello, j, jail, j, major. It's this initial blockage or stop in the J sound that contrasts with that smooth flow of the Y sound. This difference is crucial, and confusing them leads directly to mix-ups like yet and jet, yell and gel, yoke and joke, causing you to have to repeat yourself, or worse, causing your message to get lost. All right, sound number 3. This one is perhaps the most crucial vowel difference for Spanish speakers to master in English. The difference between the vowel sound in sit versus the vowel sound in seat. Why is it so important? Because Spanish only has one E sound, which is very close to the English vowel in seat. But English has another vowel sound, the one in sit, that simply doesn't exist in Spanish. So it's extremely common for Spanish speakers to use that familiar Spanish E sound for both English vowels. This means your pronunciation of words like sit and seat sound identical. Ship sounds like sheep. Live sounds like leave. Feel sounds like feel. And the most infamous and dangerous one is confusing bitch and beach. This single vowel confusion leads to countless misunderstandings. Some minor, some potentially quite embarrassing or even offensive. It's a massive barrier to feeling confident when living and working in English. Now, here's the biggest challenge, and I want you to pay close attention because this one thing can cause you to struggle for years without improving. When helping clients fix this problem, I always start with one simple question. Do you hear the difference between these sounds? They usually pause, think for a minute, and then say, I don't know. So I test them with a listening exercise, and very often they can't hear the difference. If you can't hear the difference, imagine how frustrating it is to try to pronounce the difference. But don't worry, if it's hard for you to hear the difference between sit and seat, or ship and sheep, or his and he's, that is completely normal. Because the sound in sit doesn't exist in your native language, your brain has never had a reason to listen for it. So it often just maps it to the closest sound you do know, the E sound like in seat. The absolute biggest hurdle and the key to fixing this is first training your ear to reliably hear the difference. Before you can consistently pronounce the sounds, you need to be able to consistently hear them as two separate sounds, just like native speakers do. And the way we do that is through a specific type of listening practice. Once you learn to hear the difference, then you can move on to pronouncing the difference, and it will be so much easier. And getting that specific listening practice to train your ear, plus instant feedback on your pronunciation so you know if you're getting it right, is exactly what my full course, Clear, Confident English for Spanish Professionals, provides. We dive deep into training your ear to hear sounds like I and E, just like a native speaker. You'll learn to make these sounds correctly with targeted video lessons. You'll then apply what you've learned with real speaking practice, with instant feedback from Pronuncia's AI pronunciation coach. You can know with confidence that you're saying it right. Systematic approach designed to make correct pronunciation automatic, covering these sounds and much more, helping you sound clearer in weeks. Plus, for the first 8 people who enroll, I'm offering personal coaching. If you want that extra support from me, check out the link in the description quickly because it won't last. If you're ready for real, measurable progress, click the link now to learn more. Coming in at number 2, a sound pair that causes constant confusion. The English B sound, B, and the English V sound, V. Now, if you speak Spanish, you know that in Spanish, the letters B and V represent the exact same sound. That's why you have to say, B de bueno or B de vaca. You have to specify which letter you mean because they sound the same. But in English, V is a completely different sound. If you're not careful, you'll pronounce very like berry and vote like boat. So how is the English V different? English V sound involves the lower lip touching the upper teeth, just like for F, with a little vibration in the throat. V, berry, boat, ban. Unlike B, the lips should not touch each other. But here's the really sneaky part. The reason this ranks so high at number 2 is because many Spanish speakers focus only on fixing the V sound, thinking their B sound is fine because it's the same as Spanish B. But what often gets missed is that the English B sound is very frequently different from the typical Spanish B sound, especially when it's in the middle of or at the end of a word. In English, the B sound, B, requires the lips to press together firmly, completely stopping the air before releasing it with a small pop. B, boat, berry, ban, double, job. The lips always close completely. In Spanish, however, especially at normal conversational speed, the B sound often becomes softer. The lips might not close completely, or they touch very lightly without that buildup of pressure and pop. Think about how you say Cuba and lobo in Spanish. Cuba, lobo. It's often a softer sound, va, without a strong pop. If you use that softer Spanish B sound in an English word like double or able, saying something like dole or able, it sounds off to native English speakers, sometimes like a V or even a W, making it hard to understand. So the real challenge here is twofold: learning the proper English V, lip to teeth, and ensuring your English B has that firm closing of the mouth and pop, buh, and not replacing it with the softer Spanish B. This combination is a major, often overlooked source of misunderstanding. Keeping these B and V sounds separate and correct is absolutely key for clearer English. And here we are at number 1, the single biggest pronunciation challenge for Spanish speakers who are trying to achieve clear, natural-sounding English. It's a sound called the schwa, represented by this symbol. So what is it? The schwa is the most common vowel sound in American English. It's a super short, completely relaxed, neutral vowel sound. Think of the A in about, the O in other, other. There are two fundamental problems here. First, this specific sound doesn't exist in Spanish. And second, in Spanish, vowels are always pronounced how they're spelled. So Spanish speakers naturally tend to pronounce English words based on the vowel letters they see. So was, with that sound, was, becomes was, with a. Public, public, becomes public, with u. Other, other, becomes other, with a clear Spanish o. Now, you might think, okay, this is just another sound to learn. Why is this number 1? And this part is absolutely crucial. The schwa isn't just about making one sound correctly. It's the key to the fundamental rhythm and music of English. Let me explain. Languages have rhythm. Spanish is what linguists call a syllable-timed language. It's a fancy way of saying that, in general, each Spanish syllable takes up roughly the same amount of time, like musical notes in a steady beat. Da, 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 da. English, on the other hand, is a stress-timed language. This means the rhythm is based on making some important words and syllables longer, louder, and clearer, and taking the less important words and squeezing, shortening, and reducing them to make time for those stressed beats. The rhythm might be more like da-dum, da-da-dum, da-da-dum. And how does English reduce those unstressed syllables? Primarily by using the schwa sound, default minimal effort sound to keep those unstressed syllables short. When you replace schwa with full Spanish vowels, you're essentially speaking English with a Spanish rhythm. Even if every other sound is perfect, this mismatch in rhythm makes your speech sound strongly accented, unnatural, and significantly harder for native speakers to follow easily. It disrupts the expected musical pattern that the ears of native speakers are expecting, and thus makes it harder to understand. Mastering rhythm is a bigger topic for another day, but understanding and using the schwa is the absolute first and most important step. So how do you find and make this super important sound? First, forget the spelling. Schwa can hide behind any vowel letter, A, E, I, O, U, even Y. The key is starting to pay attention and to listen for this sound where it's hiding, most often in unstressed syllables. Second, it's about relaxation and minimal effort. Schwa sound is made with a completely neutral, relaxed tongue, jaw, and lips. No tension or motion needed. The best way to start fixing this is to train your ear to hear stress patterns in English. In words and phrases, start to listen for the strong beats, the words and syllables we tend to emphasize. Once you identify the stress syllable, assume that some of the other vowel sounds in that word might just be a schwa, that quick, reduced sound. Recognizing where it should be is a huge step on the path to mastering this sound. So the schwa is problem number 1 because it is the most common sound. It is everywhere, and because of its absolutely critical role in English rhythm and stress. Recognizing its existence and its impact on rhythm is the single biggest step towards making your English sound more natural and fluent so you can feel more confident and less stressed. So there you have it, the top 5 pronunciation hurdles for Spanish speakers. The TH sounds, Y and J, the sit and seat vowels, B and V, and the crucial schwa sound. Mastering these makes a huge difference, but they're often just the starting point. How do you know which specific patterns are holding you back? That's where the free pronunciation evaluation comes in. It analyzes your speech across the key areas for Spanish speakers, giving you a personalized roadmap in just minutes. Knowing what to practice is key, so go take the evaluation now, links in the description, and it's completely free. So keep working on these sounds, you can and will achieve clear, confident English. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.